legally speaking, Mr. Ogunye, welcome to the program.
Yeah,
does it bother your mind that there are insertions? What does the law say about the powers of the National Assembly to impute, create budget projects and put it into the budget? Are they permitted by law?
Under our presidential system of government, it's indeed an aberration. It's a misnomer to have members of the National Assembly recreating the budget. Honorable Wesley Dahosa referenced Section 81 of the Constitution. By that provision, the President of the country prepares estimates of expenditure and revenue and expenditure. So he's the one that prepares the estimate. It is not the job of the National Assembly to prepare this estimate. So when in the consideration of the budget, the National Assembly or the members of the National Assembly then start behaving as if they are the one to prepare, they are the one to create, they are the one to create heads, they are the one to insert. There is a complete misunderstanding of the budget approval process. And what they appear to be doing is that they think that they are running a parliamentary system of government. This is a presidential system of government. Members of the executive are not parliamentarians. So those ones will have a larger role to play in the preparation of the budget. But in this case, the executive branch of the government has prepared those estimates. And they are there, even while not acting as a rubber stamp, to consider not to create the budget as if the budget is their own.
What Section 81 of the Constitution did say, and when you were explaining that, some people to their minds is that when you say it's an aberration for the National Assembly or for the lawmakers to create projects, don't they have that prerogative to put constituency project? Or how would you say that totally the National Assembly members don't have the right to put projects into the national budget?
They don't have the right, they don't have the power. Look, it's basic knowledge in government will define three arms of government. They work together, but they have their separate and respective jurisdiction. The executive execute the laws, they make proposals, and then the legislature will then approve the proposal, and the judiciary is there. Now, in this case, what the executive does under Section 81 is to prepare those estimates. The executive takes the money, they generate the revenue, so they know, they have an idea of what is in the purse. So they prepare the estimates, and then the members of the National Assembly are to consider those estimates. But what they've been doing consistently, illegally and unconstitutionally and immorally, because they're not just doing it because they are ignorant. No. What they do, and people that know this will tell you this, what they do is that before they pass the budget, they start going to parastatals and agencies and all that. We won't pass your budget if you don't agree that we should do this. So they start cutting deals ahead of that budget. Everybody knows this in Nigeria. Really? That's what they do.
And that's what happens.
And they know. And so they start inserting all sorts of things.
There's a racket between the MDAs and...
It's a racket. They start inserting all sorts of things in the budget. And then they game the system. Blackmail the entire country. You will pass it. We are here. If within 30 days, as it is provided under Section 59(4) of the Constitution, you don't pass the bill, we will veto it, or you veto it, we will pass it ourselves by a 2/3 majority as a house sitting together. So they know they have the powers. And so they want to be propitiated and begged and appeased.
So in the budgeting process, the National Assembly somewhat has more powers, or has a bigger power, or more intimidating powers than the executive.
No, they don't. They claim the powers they don't have. What I'm saying is that they have the power if there's a veto to override that veto. Right? Elsewhere in the United States, for example, what happens is that before budget is passed, before budget is presented, there will be a lot of discussions by congressmen and women and senators with those who are in the executive, lobbying them. This is what we want to see and all that. And once that proposal comes, they don't do their own insertions. They lobby to get their constituency projects reflected in the proposals.
But that's not the case in Nigeria.
That's not the case here.
The National Assembly puts the constituency projects.
That's why I'm saying that it's an aberration. It's an aberration.
So
they know.
they've been doing, why have they not been challenged all along?
Because the executive has not mustered the power to challenge them. If I were to be the acting president or the president, I will innovatively do what I called line assent. I will assent those portions that I will start implementing it. The Constitution provides, for example, in Section 82, that I can start spending money on the basis of the past budget of last year. I won't go beyond the thresholds. And till the end of the year, so we'll stay on it and call their bluff but you don't see the executive doing that, perhaps because they themselves have their own problems. So the point I'm making is that if, as a matter of principle, you have to stay on this and say, this infamy won't pass, we won't allow you to continue to tear the Constitution into shreds, I think that we'll be getting...
This is not the first time we've seen...
Not the first time this is happening.
Okay.
I
will remind Nigerians of this interview we had with a lawmaker that has now been suspended by his colleagues because he called them out on some of what he called senseless insertions. Well, almost a year down the line, almost a similar thing is happening. And one will wonder, what kind of country are we? Insertions into the budget, which the legal practitioner here says is illegal. Take a listen to Honorable Abdulmumin Jibrin.
I will not say that it is pardon. I've always believed it's insertions. What I think is wrong is when this insertions goes above limit. In the case of 2016, it was the case in 2011, 2012, 13, 14, 15, and of course 2016. The only difference is that in 2016, I saw the numbers of insertion in 2011, saw in 2012, saw in 2013, 14, 15, and 2016, it went completely off the board.
You heard him there. I just wanted to make a comment before we go. What do we think? Where do you think we can go from here?
The executive that is crying wolf now allowed that opportunity to pass it by. They didn't see the advantage of using that man as a lightning rod to beat the National Assembly into line. They were hobnobbing with those who are traducing him. And I'm talking about the presidency. They allowed that opportunity to slip by.
Obasanjo tried to add a face-off with the National Assembly, but at some point he got his hand bitten.
He didn't. It was because he was also looking for something else.
Okay, let me allow the lawmaker, the former lawmaker in our Abuja studio. As it stands now, you heard what Honorable Jibrin said last year, and it looks so much that's exactly the same thing is repeating itself. And one would wonder, maybe in fact, it is even almost double what we saw last year and in the previous year that is happening right now. Are we in trouble as a nation when it comes to budgeting?
Well, the thing is that we have to work on our synergy. I am not too sure that there's anywhere in the world where budget making it can be in isolation by any arm of government. But my argument is that the legislature has no authority anywhere in our constitution to turn the budget upside down. What I know they can do is to discuss the budget issues, look through the estimates, see whether they are rationalized, and to see whether those are the estimates deserving of our country at any given time. And if they are not, make their comments and invite appropriate ministries to dialogue on it. And where they do intend to make inputs, I think the appropriate thing is to liaise with the appropriate budget offices managed by the presidency so they can have a synergized budget. I am sure we can bring the situation under control once we appreciate this. And to send the entire atmosphere into a heated environment may not aid the Nigerian public, because you can have a filibuster by parliament, situation where the budget is there, it is not passed. You may want to rely on Section 82 to spend some money and continue to do so, but how long are you going to do so? So my advice to Parliament is that I think they should work their estimates within a national budget framework. This whole idea of including rural roads, including state roads and so on into federal budgets doesn't augur well, because there are enough provisions under Section 162 of the Constitution to share to the states and local governments already. So why are you still interfering with a national process that requires some level?
Let me, because of our time, just in 30 seconds, your final word on this.
Oh, it calls for principle and statesmanship and leadership. I expect the presidency, the acting president, the president, to stay focused and call the bluff of the National Assembly. That's the only way you grow democracy.
Okay.
You don't grow democracy by kowtowing to evil.
All right. Just before we go, no business as usual, they promised. Now that the budget of recovery and growth is stuck and needs a recovery itself, it reminds us all that the 2016 budget suffered same fate. There are many reasons why the 2017 budget is still hanging. Here is one of it.
And to make matters worse, they took 18 files from my office. As I told you, we are holding the meeting on the budget on Thursday. So from Thursday to now, we will not be able to meet because some of the papers are not around. We could not keep to the timetable you gave us to lay the budget yesterday to get it passed today. And I think it is not our own fault. It is the fault of the police. The police interfered with the whole budget process.
Adding, inserting, missing. Have you ever wondered how these words sneak into the Nigerian budgeting process and how this anomaly is becoming the new normal? The last time I checked, it is supposed to be the second most important document after the Constitution, and it should be treated as such. Many thanks, gentlemen, for coming on the program. Mr. G.T. Ogunye and Honorable Wesley Dawson. Well, that's our show for tonight. Many thanks for being part of it. I'm Sean Kimberley. Bye for now.